They looked at a diamond and saw only rock, so they cast him into the crusher. But they forgot that pressure does not destroy the diamond. It perfects it. They threw a man into the abyss, expecting him to die. But he didn't just survive the dark. He domesticated it. They didn't just walk away. They looked through me. They looked at my potential, my soul, and my offering, and they deemed it worthless. They treated me like a broken tool, something to be discarded in the scrap heap of history. I stood there paralyzed by the gravity of their rejection. I felt the human part of me, the part that craved connection, the part that wanted to be understood, screaming. It was begging for a second glance. It wanted to ask why. What did I lack? Was I not enough? But the universe gave no answer. Only the wind held back. That was the moment the frost set in. It started in my fingertips and worked its way to the center of my chest. It was the death of the boy who sought validation. It was the funeral of the person who needed them. At first, the darkness was terrifying. When you are cast out from the fire, the night feels endless. I was alone in the void, surrounded by the echoes of their laughter and the phantom pains of their betrayal. I felt the phantom limb of a bond that had been severed with a dull blade. They thought that by casting me into the abyss, I would disappear. They thought the shadows would consume me, that I would wither away without their light to shine on me. But they forgot one fundamental truth about the dark. It is not empty. It is a forge. I didn't die in that darkness. I adapted. I stopped looking for the light, and I became the flame. Tonight I sat in the center of that abyss, and I let it crush me. I let the pressure break every bone of my weakness. I let the isolation strip the flesh from my spirit until only the iron remained. I realized that my heart, that fragile beating thing that bled every time they cut me, was a liability. So I carved it out. I replaced it with a reactor of cold fusion, burning on the fuel of pure, unadulterated focus. I stopped sleeping. I stopped dreaming of acceptance. I started dreaming of conquest. While they were comfortable, basking in the warmth of their mediocrity, I was in the trenches of my own mind, sharpening my blade. I studied the architecture of power. I dissected the anatomy of success. I engaged in a war against my own limits. Every time my body said stop, I pushed harder. Every time my mind whispered, it's too hard, I screamed back with the fury of 1,000 storms. They built their houses on the sand of complacency. I built my fortress on the bedrock of pain. I watched them from the shadows. I saw them celebrate their small victories. I saw them pat each other on the back, convinced that they were the kings of their tiny, fragile kingdom. They forgot about me. To them, I was just a ghost story, a cautionary tale of someone who didn't make the cut. They didn't know that the ghost was lifting weights that would crush their spines. They didn't know the ghost was reading the books they were too lazy to open. They didn't know the ghost was calculating, strategizing, evolving. I became the exception. I became the anomaly in their perfect equation. Time is a funny thing. It exposes the cracks in everything that isn't solid. And slowly, their walls began to crumble. The storms came. The storms they weren't prepared for. The world shifted. The comfortable lies they told themselves stopped working. The devil they thought they could outsmart came knocking at their door. And they realized they had no weapons. They had no armor. They had only their soft, pampered hands and their arrogance. And now the air has changed. I can smell the fear on them. It smells like ozone and desperation. Suddenly, I am not the outcast anymore. Suddenly, my name is being whispered not in mockery, but in reverence and in need. I see them looking toward the darkness where they threw me, squinting their eyes, hoping to see a savior. They are realizing that the very traits they rejected, my intensity, my obsession, my refusal to compromise, are the only things that can save them now. They rejected the wolf because they wanted a dog. But now the bears are at the gate and the dogs are hiding under the porch. Now they are praying for the wolf. I feel their gaze on me. It burns with a different kind of heat now. It's the heat of envy and necessity. They come to me with their hands out, palms up, eyes wide with false humility. We made a mistake. They seem to say without actually saying the words. We didn't see your value. They think they can just recall me. They think I am a soldier waiting for orders. They think that because they are desperate. I am obligated to return. They think my strength is a public utility available for them to tap into whenever their lights go out. They are wrong. I am not a resource. I am a consequence. I look at them and I feel nothing. The anger I used to feel, it evaporated long ago, boiled away by the heat of my own ascent. I don't hate them. I don't love them. To me, they are just static. They are background noise in a symphony I composed by myself. They ask for my help. They ask for my strategy. They ask for the strength that I cultivated in the years they left me to rot. They want to harvest the crops from the field they salted. It is almost comical. They want the monster to fight their battles. They want the villain to be their hero. But I am neither villain nor hero. I am a force of nature. I am the inevitable result of their actions. I look at my hands. They are scarred, calloused, strong enough to crush stone. I look at their hands, soft, unblemished. Weak, they chose comfort. I chose suffering. And now the bill has come due. Why should I extend my hand to those who cut off? Why should I shield the people who threw me to the wolves? I became the alpha of the pack they feared. I learned the language of the wild, speaking the language of polite society. I learned to hunt while they were being fed. They say, we need you. I whisper back, I know, but that need is not my burden. That need is their punishment. It is the mirror I hold up to their faces so they can see exactly what they threw away. They have to live with the knowledge that the only person capable of saving them is the person they tried to destroy. They have to swallow that bitter pill every single morning. They have to look at my throne built from the bones of my own failures and realize they have no seat at my table. I am in a league of my own. I have transcended the need for their approval. I don't need their applause. The beating of my own heart is the only ovation I require. I don't need their love. The fire inside me keeps me warm. They stand at the foot of the mountain I climbed alone. They're shouting up at me, begging me to throw down a rope. But I am not looking down. My eyes are fixed on stars. My eyes are fixed on the next peak, the next conquest, the next level of evolution. I have walked through the valley of the shadow of death, and I feared no evil because I became the most dangerous thing in the valley. I became the thing the shadows fear. Let them sit in the ruins of their choices. Let them realize that you cannot betray a king and then ask for his army. You cannot mock a god and then pray for his miracles. You cannot reject the stone and then expect it to be the cornerstone of your foundation. I am the stone that the builders rejected, and now I am the mountain that crushes them. The tragedy isn't that I lost them. The tragedy is that they lost me. And the worst part for them, they know it. They know that in every timeline, in every version of reality, they fumbled the greatest asset they ever had. I am the storm they summoned but cannot control. I am the verdict they cannot appeal. I am the dawn that breaks after their long cold night. But I will not shine for them. I shine only for the mission. I shine only for the destiny that dragged me out of the dirt and placed a crown of lightning on my head. They can watch. They can weep. They can regret. But they cannot touch me. I am gone. I am ascending. And as I rise, I leave them behind in the smallness of their own making. I was born to be this. The pain was just the chrysalis. The rejection was just the catalyst. I thank them for it. Truly, if they hadn't rejected me, I might have stayed comfortable. I might have stayed weak. I might have stayed one of them. So thank you. Thank you for closing the door. Thank you for locking me out. You didn't end my story. You just forced me to write a better one. A story where I am the author, the protagonist, and the god of my own reality. Now look at me. Look at what you created and weep for what you can never have again.